On behalf of the Maréchaussée Phantom, I would like to once again thank the Fortress of Meripede for your assistance in the response to yesterday's prison break.
Our head nurse and the Traveler in Paimon did most of the heavy lifting, I would say.
Sigewinne seems to be in good spirits. I trust work hasn't been too hard on her lately?
Well, she might be the only permanent medical staff in the fortress, but there's plenty of people with medical knowledge willing to help her out.
I am most relieved to hear it.
The way you're asking after her well-being makes you sound like a concerned parent.
Well, I won't lie. I've always seen myself that way.
Showing your age a bit there, don't you think?
Indeed. Actually, I often forget just how much older I am than you.
Well, while we're on the topic, what did you do before getting this job anyway? Spend all day swimming in the sea from east to west and then north to south?
Yes, and from the surface to the ocean floor on occasion.
Wow. Impressive.
Apologies, that was merely an attempt at humor. You can disregard what I said.
That's impossible, I'm afraid. My imagination's already running wild.
You're here. The old friend I mentioned was my teacher. When she passed, her body was nowhere to be found. All that's left of her is an empty tomb. And even that's deep underwater now.
Sigewinne, the witch who gave you the magic potion, she was your teacher, wasn't she?
Sounds like Monsieur Neuvillette filled you in.
After learning the truth, it must have been hard to process, huh?
Well, to be honest, after I realized what really happened that night, my first thought was that it kind of made sense. It seemed exactly like the sort of thing she would do.
But she was planning to sacrifice herself and never told you.
That's just who she was. If lying is what it took to get a kid to take their medicine, then that's what she'd do.
All right, but why did you turn yourself in?
I broke the law, simple as that. My teacher made her choice, and I made mine.
True. It's just the way Potton framed it when he was asking you all those questions, it made Paimon really mad. You're not like him at all, and everything Neuvillette said confirms that. And yet, you were still convicted and thrown in prison. It just feels so unfair.
Unfair? I happen to think just the opposite. If I hadn't served that time, I'm not sure I would have been able to stay strong when he was questioning me.
What makes you say that?
I knew you'd be curious. Let me tell you a story. The verdict came down. This Melusine is guilty. The Iudex defended the authority of Fontaine law, but he did not confiscate the Melusine's medical kit. And so, the Fortress of Meripede gained a new little doctor. She still wore her hood and raincoat, even though it never rained in the fortress. Perhaps thanks to her human appearance, no one refused her treatment. She treated more and more patients, and her sentence grew ever shorter. Finally, the people of the fortress could not live without her, and though her sentence ended, she did not leave them either. Then one day, she received an invitation from the outside world. The location seemed familiar, and when she arrived, an old lady was waiting for her. She saw right through the Melusine's disguise, but didn't reveal it. Instead, she asked a question.
Tell me, why do you think you gained the respect of so many people? despite being a Melusine?
Because I look like a human?
It's been 50 years, Sijuin, and you haven't aged a day. I think everyone knows you are not human. I finally found you, after all these years. I still remember, you know. It was you who saved me that night.
But how? I was no longer a Melusine by then.
Does it really matter if you're human or Melusine? I remembered the warmth of your palm. It's quite unmistakable. And you know what? It hasn't changed one bit. You don't have to hide anymore, Sijuin. These days, everyone wants to make friends with Melusines. And I think that it's all because of you. I'm sorry I couldn't say this until now, but thank you, Dr. Melusine.
Now that's an ending Paimon can get behind.
After hearing everything Paten said, I wanted to tell him that it didn't matter who he looked like on the outside. But it was too late. The warmth in his palm had already disappeared. I tried to treat him, but the roots of his problem had nothing to do with his face. I understand. Thanks, you two. I appreciate you being here for me while I talk this through.
Oh, it's nothing. Our pleasure.
Oh, there's one more reason I invited you here. It's about time I finally give you what I promised. In order to restore the appearances of the face-swapping victims, the Marechaussee Phantom gave me special permission to make a few bottles of that potion. And I made one extra just for you two.
We don't need it though. Shouldn't we destroy it?
Well, even if you chose to destroy it, I still thought I should give it to you first. You two did so much for me. How could I break my promise?
Well, fair enough, but anyway, Paimon's definitely not interested in this stuff anymore. Still, if this is the very last bottle in all of Teyvat, getting rid of it would feel like kind of a waste. Maybe we can give it a special meaning somehow. Oh, Paimon's got it! Melusine physiology wasn't affected by the Great Flood, right? So that means the potion should have a permanent effect on you. In that case, what do you say, Sijuin? Ever thought about transforming back to the way you used to look? After all, from a Melusine point of view, Paimon bets Melusines look the cutest of all.
Paimon, after everything, do you really think it matters whether I'm Melusine or a human?
Well, what was Paimon thinking? You made up your mind a long time ago. Yeah, let's just destroy this thing.
Leave it to me. I'd like to stay here with my teacher for a little longer.